Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Devin, and today in this bulking season that most of us are in, and a lot of us are just always in a state of trying to lose body fat as well. That seems to be the human disposition, but no matter what end of the spectrum you lie on, whether you're trying to bulk up for the winter, whether you're just trying to live a healthier lifestyle and you're trying to lose body fat, this video is going to be highly important for you because I'm going to be breaking down why macros matter. Yes, calories matter. You want to be in a caloric deficit, you want to be in a caloric surplus, your protein, carb, and fat distribution matters, and I'm going to explain why right now. I lied. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, a meal plan, or a training plan, go ahead and email me. It's going to be right here. If you do not want a tailor-made plan, I also have a dumbbell only training plan that I created, which is going to be in my website link down below. Calculating your macros, all of that can be very overwhelming, so I am going to include in the description down below a website that I always suggest using when it comes to calculating your calories and also when it comes to calculating your macros, okay? Say for example, you go to this website and you're like, I want to bulk, I want to put on some serious fucking size. Say this website tells you that you need to eat 2,500 calories in order to be in a surplus. So you just eat random food throughout the day, you're not really being mindful of it. You know that protein is important, so maybe you have a protein bar and a protein shake at some point during the day. What I suggest doing in order to track those metrics and see where you actually lie is downloading a food tracker. I'm not saying this for the sake of trying to give you an eating disorder. This can be used very minimally. You can literally just have an eyeball guesstimate, like log in random foods that you usually have and see, well, if I up my chicken breast measurement by like 2 ounces, then I'll hit my protein mark. If I lower my jasmine rice intake by 20 grams, then I'll hit my carb intake. Why do macros matter? This is gonna be the biggest fucking make or break your body composition, right? So if we're on the end of wanting to bulk, do you just wanna get fluffy? Do you just wanna get big? You just wanna be like a bigger person? It doesn't matter to you if you're gaining muscle mass, particularly you just want to get bigger, then yeah, your macros don't matter, because if you gain fat, it's not going to matter to you. For people who have a regular body composition, you definitely do want to be mindful of your macros, because if you're gaining weight but that weight gain is not biased towards muscle growth, you're going to be gaining more fat than muscle. I bulked up nicely, I want to go ahead and cut down. What you realize is cutting becomes fucking miserable. You don't see the progress that you thought you saw, because this whole entire time you thought you were building muscle, the scale was moving up, you were gaining mostly fat, so then when you cut down, you're just losing body fat. You're revealing the same amount of muscle mass as before. You do want to bias your food intake towards muscle gain. The approach that I like to take is 20% fat, 30% protein, 50% carbs. And the reason for this is that protein obviously provides protein muscle synthesis, essentially repairing that muscle that is broken down during the process of training. If you're training hard enough, I don't even think that some people should be bulking, because some of y'all train really soft and you're not breaking down the muscle. But anyways, carbs are converted into glycogen, and glycogen is an energy store within the muscle. So a lot of people do keto. A lot of people think that carbs are the devil. You're missing out on quality training. You're missing out on quality pumps, and you're missing out on repairing that muscle as well. Honestly, no one I work with is keto. I don't really... Not a fan. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense from like a body composition perspective, right? And then fat plays a huge role in absorbing micronutrients as well as cognitive function, and also it helps in digestion, okay? Now I see a lot of times where people are overweight, they don't give a fuck, they just want to lose weight as fast as possible. They're just crash dieting, they're eating little ass amounts of food, they're eating little salads here and there, rice cakes, almonds, I'm adding myself. The problem with this is if you're not prioritizing your macros, you're just know that you're eating less food, you're losing muscle mass, and when you do get smaller, you're gonna end up skinny fat. So I oftentimes see a lot of people who are maybe a little bit chunky, like I used to be. The number one way to prevent being skinny fat is actually being mindful of your macros, being mindful of your protein intake, not thinking that carbs are the devil, and not just eating less food. Yeah, that helps in the short term, but in terms of building up muscle mass, you're screwing yourself sideways. Like it simply is not going to serve that purpose. It hurts me to see people like go through unnecessary dysphoria because they're gaining more fat in a bulk. And as trans guys, a lot of us do have that fear of bulking, because we're like, oh, well, the fat's going to go right to my hips, it's going to go right to my midsection, and a lot of that is genetic, but a lot of that fear of bulking, that fear of gaining fat, is because you're not bulking properly. It's because you're just eating more food with no real rhyme or reason, and then you're gaining excessive fat, which could have been avoided if you were, you know, taking a little bit of a smart approach to your bulk, okay? Honestly, I wish that everybody would just take like a little bit more attention when it comes to our macronutrient intake, right? I know that there's also the back end of that where a lot of trans masc and a lot of trans guys have, you know, disordered eating, so I understand why you might not want to track your macros, but even creating like a loose meal plan for yourself that you stick to, you can just do the math on it once and then just loosely stick to that blueprint for a couple of months. You can't just fucking eat like a baby bird and then wonder why you're not, you know, gaining muscle mass. You can work out like a Spartan, but if you're just simply not eating like you need to be, nothing's gonna happen, son. Like food is the primary mechanism of anything you want to do with your body. If you want to build muscle, if you want to lose fat, anything that you do, you can live in the gym, you can train like you're in a fucking Game of Thrones scene. The biggest thing that's gonna drive your progress is essentially what you're putting into your mouth. It matters. Like I said, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, feel free to email me. Also follow me on Instagram where you can keep up with my bodybuilding updates. A little bit more informational content flows that way as well. And like I always say, Devin loves you, Devin's a Don, and Devin is out of here, boy.